Okay, hello everyone. Yes, welcome to our first workshop on Hedera Hello Future Hackathon Trilogy. Right, okay, we have 10 people here. Maybe we can wait a little bit more to have some more people. All right, okay. So as you join, please feel free to say hi and greet us with good morning, maybe good afternoon, or good evening along with your country flag if you're comfortable with that. And because we'd love to see where everyone's dialing in from. And I just wanted to share as well. So let's see. Hello, Mishka. Hey, Mattia. Nice to see you as well. Great. Okay, we're now having a great number of viewers. All right, so let me just share a quick note that for this specific session, we will be muting everyone. But don't worry because we have interactive sessions coming up. So, especially that was during our AMAs where you'll be having a chance to engage and ask questions. And with that, we'll announce this on our Discord. So if you also have registered for the hackathon, you'll also receive email reminders. That's very convenient, right? And but if you have any questions during this session itself, you can type it in the chat box, and we'll do our best to answer it after the workshop for sure, if time permits. Else, we will have a dedicated AMA session, as I mentioned earlier, upcoming. So for anyone who haven't registered for the hackathon just yet, we'll be sharing the URL at the end of this session on YouTube. And then you can also actually find it on the description below of this specific session. Right. Okay. Hey. Great. Oh, good evening. Yes, from some people it's good evening. Good morning in the USA, of course. Hello, Singapore. Thanks for tuning in. Good evening, everyone. Right. Great. Nice audience. Okay, so let me just officially say welcome to everyone. So, once again, welcome to the first workshop of the Hedera Hello Future Hackathon Trilogy. You know what? This is just the first chapter, and we fittingly call it Origins. And it's just the start of an exciting hackathon journey with Hedera. So today's session really is packed with insights and inspiration, and we're thrilled to be joined by Jake Hall. He's a developer relations engineer at Hedera. He's really such a brilliant man here. So before officially joining the Hedera team, Jake was already an active builder in the ecosystem, winning not just one, not just two, but multiple hackathons. Unbelievable, right? And one fun fact about him is he climbed the Mount Kilimanjaro, considered just a very challenging climb, at 16 years old. So, what an energetic young man. And of course, I'm happy to share that we're also joined by one of the recent hackathon winning teams. He is the talent AI person here, and we'll be hearing from him later. They'll be walking us through their project, sharing what success looks like, the story behind their build, and what they learned along the way. So, yep, this workshop runs around 45 minutes, and there's so much to learn, I promise you. So, stay tuned until the end, giving the stage to Jake now.
Amazing. Thank you very much for the very positive introduction. It was only two hackathons. I only won two hackathons. I think.
Oh,
Yeah, just two. So but it still counts as a few. Now, yeah, what I'm going to be doing today, we're just going to be going through some information on Hedera. So I'm going to share my screen. I've got a quick PowerPoint. It's going to be a mixture of just an introduction to Hedera. We'll be covering things like what is Hedera, who's building on Hedera. That's when we'll hand over to our guest Mohammed, and then also we'll be looking at how can you build on Hedera. So can I just confirm, is everyone able to see my screen? We should be seeing something introduction to Hedera right now. I'm going to assume that's okay. And I'm also, because I can't see anything now, I'm going to guess other people have been moved off the stage. But if someone can't hear, just jump in. I'm going to get started. So introduction to Hedera. What are we going to be covering today? Like I mentioned, we're going to be covering what is Hedera, who's building on Hedera, and how can I or you build on Hedera. But before we get into that, let's answer this question: why even blockchain? Why should I be building on a distributed ledger, on a Web3 protocol where you have decentralized consensus and all of this sort of stuff? Why is this important? So I'm going to be really quick here. On a really high level, public blockchains like Hedera, they enable transactions, they enable transfer of value in a very cost efficient, easy to access way. And it reduces some of the risks that centralized ledgers or databases have. So, on that first point, it removes the middleman. And me, for example, if I want to transfer any amount of value, whether it's $1, $500 million, five of this arbitrary meme coin, whatever it is, any sort of token, I am able to transfer it from one person. I can be in the UK, I can transfer it to someone else who's based in Bangladesh without any intermediary central bank needing to process it, peer to peer, using the blockchain technology, this distributed network of computers, which is validating the transaction, making sure everything is happening correctly. I can do this on Hedera in about 3 seconds for 100th of a cent. And that doesn't matter how much value I'm sending. Again, it could be millions of dollars. I could be sending $10 billion and I can send it from one person to another. And that transfer would happen in 2 to 3 seconds for 100th of a cent. It's pretty impressive. That's one of the reasons. Another reason why you might want to build on blockchain is because of the fact, one of the natures and properties of blockchain is it being public, it being transparent. And we're going to go into some use cases later on when we cover who's building on Hedera as to why this transparency is really important. But what it means is it means that you have this sort of layer of integrity, layer of trust. You can see exactly what people are claiming to do. It makes it easier to prove that, for example, you own X amount of assets, therefore you should get exposure to this particular financial product. That's just one example. But we'll also cover examples in the sustainability industry, where of course transparency is very important. That's not to say there are other instances where actually you don't want transparency. There's definitely times where we prefer things like private, but in this instance, when we focus on public, there is a whole other field of private stuff, which is also very interesting to explore. The final one, secure and tamper resistant. One of these properties of the blockchain is that because it's all transparent and you can never remove data from it, you can only append, you can only add. You see this accurate representation of what's happened in the past. There's no way of fraudulently changing it or doing something claiming that you have more value, more tokens than you're supposed to. This is all backed cryptographically in the historical record of the blockchain, where every sort of transaction is binded to the next one. And for this, we use the hashgraph consensus algorithm in the case of Hedera. So that's just a quick overview as to why you'd want to build on public blockchains. I know our guest, Mohammed, he's going to be discussing as to why he chose his product, and we're going to go into a bit more detail there. But let's now get into what is Hedera. So obviously we've covered what is blockchain. Why Hedera though? Why would you want to build on top of Hedera out of all of the public blockchains that there are? So something which is really unique about Hedera is that it solves a lot of problems that many layer ones have. Often you'll find layer ones or layer twos at that matter. You have layer ones which are really quick, really efficient, but they're not very secure. They're easy to potentially outweigh some of the nodes and make a malicious transaction appear to be true. Or on the other side, they're really secure, but actually they're really slow, or they're really inefficient, they're really expensive. Hedera is able to tick all of those boxes, provide something which has instant finality or something in the order of magnitude of seconds, without compromising on cost and security. Hedera has the highest level of security. We'll get into this on this slide. So again, just quick overview, why Hedera stands as the ledger which you should build on. Highly scalable. Currently in the current state of Hedera, we can have 10,000 transactions per second. So that throughput is incredibly high, more than enough to handle most transactions, most use cases at the moment. And with sharding, which is an architectural improvement, which is possible, that can scale up to much higher than 10,000 TPS. instant settlement, we touched on that before. All transactions finalize, meaning they reach a point where they cannot be changed in under 3 seconds. I think it's an average time of about 2.7 seconds. This is, of course, very useful, very important when it comes to building real world applications, because you need to have certainty that maybe I've given you this particular amount of value, whether that be a stable coin in dollars or something else, before you give me something else. We need to have this quick feedback to provide a really useful user experience where someone can't just come in and change that particular outcome. Carbon negative, this is really important because the consensus algorithm is so efficient. The computational power used to power the Hedera Hashgraph network is very low. And then the Hedera Council, they buy carbon credits to then subsidize and make their actual carbon footprint become negative. This is really great, particularly for the sustainability use cases that people are often building. There's an awesome sustainability announcement, which I'm going to get into in about 10 or so minutes. But of course, we also have a sustainability track inside of this hackathon. So you can really prove, okay, I'm not just building stuff for the sustainability industry, but I'm not contributing to any potential worsening of the environment. Low predictable network fees, this is really important. Another thing which sets Hedera apart is the fact that every single transaction is priced in dollars. So you pay for it in HBAR, but the price of it is dollars, meaning you as a businessman can exactly forecast how much I'm going to be spending for transferring a token 1,000 times, or creating 500 tokens, or interacting with these amount of smart contracts. I touched upon security point. Security is the big sacrifice which often chains make. Hedera, we've got this level of security called ABFT, asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance, which is the state of the art when it comes to security in consensus algorithms. And finally, governance. This is a big one. Hedera is governed by the Hedera Council, which is a congregation of many different companies, universities, and non-profits organizations which are responsible for making decisions on the network. And we can see some really, really great names over here. You'll see some of these names in who's building on Hedera, because one of the requirements for council members now is that they not only are responsible for running the network, operating a node, voting for the decision which the network goes in, but they also need to build. And this is really exciting because it means we're getting these top businesses leveraging the Hedera technology for the next generation of the internet. So I'll leave this on here just for a few seconds. Some pretty awesome names here. And again, the role of the council is to, one, give the sense of trust and accountability that when you're using Hedera, you're not going to be running transactions on some random person's computer in X location. These are the people who are running the nodes. This is where they're based. Some may argue that, this is not decentralized, but on the contrary, having a governing council set up like this means that we can enforce where exactly nodes are being operated in, what infrastructure they're running it on. So, for example, Hedera, our nodes are spread out across the whole globe. We've got nodes in North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Australia, Oceania region, everywhere, and they're on different providers. They're not all on AWS. They're not all on GCP. We've got a mixture of on-prem, off-prem, cloud, many different types, which again adds to that robustness and gives another perspective of decentralization, which maybe other networks don't have so much, even if they're permissionless. Cool. So let's go into who's building on Hedera. So here's a few case studies, and you'll see some of the names who are on the governing council, because again, the governing council, they're not just there making decisions, they're actively building. So this is a quick snapshot of the ecosystem. I'm not going to go into everything here. We've got a very vibrant ecosystem, a really growing retail community as well. A few more stuff, real world asset tokenization. You'll be seeing some of these use cases in that tokenization stream, data integrity and AI. There's some really interesting stuff. Again, we're going to go into that. Consumer engagement, loyalty, and sustainability, all very exciting. We're going to double click into specifics now. So the first use case which I want to cover is a very recent piece of news between Aberdeen, one of the governing council members, Lloyds Bank, which is one of the biggest banks in the UK and arguably in the world, as well as Archax. Archax is a recent startup, well, within the last sort of, I think, 5 to 10 years. They are building tokenized products on Hedera. They've been working very closely with the Hedera Council and the foundation. And essentially there was some amazing piece of news between these three parties where Aberdeen and Lloyds Bank were performing a forex trade. So they were dealing forex to each other, and they were collateralizing that trade using tokenized debt, which was tokenized on Hedera by Archak. So just to sort of explain that in a bit more detail, as you can see over here, the UK trades $5.4 trillion of forex every single day. This is half of the global activity, and with that, obviously, you need to have some element of collateral, some trust. If I'm going to be sending $100, $100 million, $1 billion in one transaction, you need to sort of know, okay, I'm going to be able to get that return back or whatever. And by using the tokenized technology, the tokenized money market funds on Aberdeen, which was tokenized again by Archax, and there was also tokenized gilts, which is the UK equivalent to treasuries. By using these tokenized solutions, you're able to program it so that the agreements are programmatically enforced, as opposed to traditional stuff where you're sort of doing things a bit more manually. With this digital world, using blockchain, you can create smart contracts. You can use some of the services which we're going to go into later on in this presentation, and you can use it to actually reduce the risk on the business, as well as I guess as we see over here, it helps reduce systemic risk during periods of market stress and reduces operational costs. Because not only are you reducing the risk by ensuring that programmatically these things are going to happen, operationally, you just let the blockchain do it. You let the blockchain reach consensus. You don't have to have loads of people who are responsible for it. So that's a really exciting use case. This was announced a couple of days ago. Very, very promising. The UK government, where I'm from, are super bullish on blockchain and distributed ledger technology. So seeing this use case being a reality is great for me as a proud Brit. But also great for the wider industry, and it's amazing to see that Hedera is at the heart of that. Another big one, also announced very recently, is a announcement with Australian Payments Plus, who are, again, they're a governing council member, and the Australian Central Bank. So just a bit of context around this. The Australia government and the financial sort of authorities are keen, again, on blockchain, on tokenization, because of the efficiencies that it brings. But they've realized, hang on, we don't quite have the regulation and the infrastructure to actually facilitate this step change in technology. So they've come up with Project Acacia. This is a sandbox environment with some leading organizations, one of them being Australian Payment Plus. They're going to be putting their use case, which does micropayments, again, on Hedera. They use the Hedera Stablecoin Studio. And they're going to be putting their use case, which builds on top of Hedera, into this 6-month Project Acacia, working really closely with regulators for something that's very, very exciting. So keep an eye out on this. This was also announced literally just a couple of days ago. The recent announcements made my job very easy when coming up with use cases for this. And we're going to keep on seeing announcements like this, I am sure. On the AI and data integrity side, of course, we're doing, just in case you didn't realize, we're doing use cases based on the current tracks that we have. So that's tokenization, AI, and sustainability. Next one's going to be sustainability. In the AI space, again, another really exciting recent announcement was with ecosystem partners Equity Labs, NVIDIA, and Accenture, where they're using, again, the Hedera network to establish a auditable trail of verifiable information when it comes to training and leveraging AI models. Obviously, at the moment, AI is it's been the big topic of discussion. It's been the big topic of discussion for the last 1 to 2 years, and as it's become more integrated into our society, both from a corporate level, but also from a governmental and public sector level, the requirement for trustworthiness of what data am I using, who's using it, and what sort of management and governance layers do I have around training models, fine-tuning them, improving them based on different amounts of data, becomes really, really important. It's not just happening sort of from like a public good perspective, but also regulation is now trying to emphasize you need to have a really clear understanding as to what data am I using? Am I allowed to use it? Is the data malicious? If I fine tune a model and things go wrong, how can I roll back? How can I prove that I'm using this particular data, or how can I prove that I'm using a model which has been trained on this particular data? All of these questions are very important. And with NVIDIA's recent Blackwell product, which allows which allows these sort of data touch points of training and inference to happen on the hardware layer, this makes it even more trustworthy. And not only is it happening on the hardware, it's then being published onto a public network like Hedera, where you have that immutability. So you're publishing this data of training and inference, which is sitting on the blockchain, cannot be changed, is public for people to see, and it really strengthens that sense of accountability. There are current softwares where sort of you have that GPU, the hardware, and on top of it, you've got a software which is doing the same thing, but it's not quite as robust because there's risk that someone is still meddling with it in between that hardware and software layer. With NVIDIA Blackwell, it goes straight on the hardware, and again, putting it onto the blockchain from there allows this to be immutable and giving it even more giving an even stronger sense of trustworthiness and accountability. This is being done by Equity Labs and Accenture. Accenture is obviously one of the leading tech consultants in the whole world, so really excited to see this partnership being built. They're using NVIDIA's technology. They're one of the first people to be using Blackwell to do this. Awesome. Final use case. This is now, I didn't update this, but this should say sustainability. Ignore that. This is a sustainability use case. This has been a really big piece of news. Vera, who are the biggest entity who are responsible for creating carbon methodologies, basically the procedures that one should take to do and create and issue things like carbon credits. Vera are the leading entity in this particular industry. I believe they have a market share of about 60 to 70%. So 60 to 70% of the methodologies which are being issued to prove that I have this carbon credit and this carbon credit is equal to 1 ton of carbon captured. This is Vera, which is really pioneering and leading the way. The Hedera Foundation and Vera have partnered for a very long-term strategic solution to exclusively use the Hedera Guardian when it comes to blockchain and issuing these methodologies and MRV, which is monitoring, reporting, and verification. Again, proving to people that this one carbon credit, which represents 1 kilogram or 1 ton of CO2 captured, is actually equivalent to 1 ton of CO2 captured. This is being done with the Hedera Guardian, which is an open source tool. It's got an amazing community. Loads of people in the sustainability space are using it because of how valuable it is in making sure that when I say I've got this particular credit, it really is what it claims to be. This is something which currently the sustainability industry is lacking. There's a lot of issues because you sort of having to blindly trust people. The Guardian takes away that element of trust, gets as much data on the public ledger, which is transparent and immutable, and makes it as easy for people, as very easy for people to actually verify and prove that this is what it says it is. Cool. So I know that was a lot to take in. Now we're going to hand it over to Mohammed. This is going to be a quick snapshot of success in previous hackathons. So Mohammed, I'm going to hand it over to you. Of course, I've got the slides, so if I'm ever a bit dodgy on the slides, just give me a nudge and I'll go over to the next one. But the floor is yours to show us about Talent AI.
Thank you, Jake. First for offering this opportunity to feature Talent AI among the Hedera ecosystem, but also for the slides and use cases that you were showing. And this is basically what we are trying um, to meet at Talent AI through resolving real world issues. And here we are tackling the hiring industry, which is quite huge, but hasn't been disrupted for a good period of time. And basically, we are trying to resolve the hiring process problems, not only by leveraging blockchain and AI, but also suggestion, a gamification that balances between candidates, applicants, and the hiring companies. And for now, until today, the hiring process is still very slow and expensive. It can take some time, up to 2, 3 and 4 months, which cost a lot of money for companies, especially in terms of gap that we witness between what's in the resume and the real skills. And often it's the senior level that validates the real skill, and sometimes we've been very disappointed through different interviews, and from there. And when we have identified the hackathon opportunity, along with an amazing team composed of Hatem, Firas, Aziz, Jason, and Jafar, and many others, as we've been working already together on different projects. And when we identified the Hedera AI Agent Hackathon, we wanted to automatize the hiring process through suggesting a solution, which is on the next slide. Talent AI, or there is a solution slide, but anyway, I can just express it. In general, what we offer at the Talent AI, it's an AI agent that runs interviews and match between first verify the skills and match them with the hiring companies. So today it's not just candidates that are applying to job opportunities, but also companies competing to prove they are worth the developers' time. Because basically, we expect the top developers to be almost the same people. So with the tokenomic model, we are implementing a gamification and make companies bet and bid to book at first interviews with candidates. And through this same token, we are capable to incentivize candidates for their resumes. So basically, candidates take a real-time camera-based AI assessment that measures both technical and soft skills. Validated results are minted on Sorbonne credentials, built on Hedera, of course, tamper-proof and unforgeable. Um, Basically, for each job post, we deploy an AI agent that scans for skill matched talent. And we make companies bid with tokens to book interview slot, and candidates earn tokens just for participating and taking the interview. This is what makes the whole process fast, transparent, and secure. And all of that is, of course, powered by the Hedera Consensus service. Um, like what makes Talent AI different comparing to all the AI tools is basically being skill oriented instead of resume first, and this tokenomics and gamification that balances the game between companies and candidates. And we started this project as like first as a need in terms of hiring from our side, but also as we have identified the hackathon, and now we are getting full support from the Hashgraph Online, from each bar foundation, and we keep building and inviting all the developers that are taking their certification and many others to verify their skills in order to create somehow like a pipeline of verified skills that would be super useful for the whole Hedera ecosystem and for many other companies in general. So that's basically Talent AI. Today we keep working on improving the AI accuracy, because that's the core game. We are matching different LLM models, and we've been witnessing the real time interviews increasing the quality, and that's pretty awesome. So considering the whole dynamic running from the previous hackathon, the ongoing one, and the big Hedera Africa hackathon that is coming also in a month, like working as a team on this milestone sprints level and being always in a challenging environment increase a lot. Both the quality division of the product, like I'm super grateful for the team because what was built in the last 2 months is equivalent of truly over a year of work, and this is because of this competitive environment where we're and supportive environment as well, where the project is being born. So that's basically it from my end. I would highly encourage like a call for applicants. This is the amazing team that I was talking about, led by Hatem mainly. And together we've been working on different products within the Hedera ecosystem, from DeFi to talent AI. We expect the community to be around 10,000 developers and interviewers that will be taken on Talent AI in the next month. Currently, also testing the first couple of clients to build the product with. So, yeah, pretty exciting journey and grateful for the whole Hedera ecosystem dynamic.
Amazing, Mohammed. That's really awesome, and I guess just to sort of just to emphasize some of the points which he's raised there. When you're building in this hackathon, don't just think of it as our just be a quick hackathon submission and I'll forget about it later. Try to position it as though you're building a product. Give us why would the market want your product, and that is going to what make you have a winning submission. So I think that this is a great example. For me, I was thinking over here when it comes to this AI powered interviews is I guess you can almost have this whole marketplace of AI agents where not only are you verifying the skill of not only are you verifying the skill of the actual developer, let's say the candidate, but you can choose which particular AI agent you want to interview them, right? And then you can see how good that AI agent is at actually interviewing. Um, but yeah, this is really great. I mean, I hope you keep on building. Just to call out one of the other streams that we have in this current Hello Future Origins hackathon, we have a bounty or track for existing builders. And again, just to emphasize the point that don't just build for one hackathon. Really think, how can I use this as a stepping stone, as a jump board to not only do one hackathon, but build a product which I want to build. We can then get you involved with the Hedera Foundation or the Hashcraft Association to accelerate and build even more, get even more sort of funding and runway to make your product a reality. That's really what we want these hackathons to be.
100%,
Uh,
100% success. Looks
it,
like
it, right.
like delivering a real world solution that solves painful problem. This is how hackers should think. And for us, it was building talent AI as a camera based system to fairly validate both soft and hard skills, and we've identified that as a pain point. So winning, I mean, seeing users engage with our system or receiving validation from the Hedera ecosystem, but also validating the need from other clients.
Exactly. And I think just I'm going to emphasize one more thing. I know I've said emphasize a lot here. Emphasize one more thing that Mohammed mentioned. We've obviously got the Hello Future Hackathon, which is starting next Monday. But good news for you developers, as soon as the Hello Future Hackathon's done, we've got that Hedera Africa Hackathon. Now, it's called Africa Hackathon. It's not only for people in Africa, it's everyone can join. The reason for it being called Africa Hackathon is because there's in-person workshops dotted around Africa, but there's another hacking opportunity, over $1 million in prizes. So it's a pretty big prize pool. I think that will be going on until around September time. So that's another opportunity for builders to keep building on Hedera. And good news is that after the Africa Hedera Hackathon, we have Hello Future Hackathon Part 2. So it's literally going to be non-stop building. I mentioned earlier, we've got the track for legacy builders, people who have already submitted to a hackathon. We've got a track dedicated for you to keep on building. So there's lots of opportunity to be building with people like myself, to support people who know the Hedera tech really well, but also win prize money to again keep that runway going, make your products become a reality, and then for us to loop you in with foundation bodies like the Hedera Foundation and the Hashgraph Association. So, Mohammed, thank you very much for showing you. I think that was great. Just to summarize, it was a previous hackathon winner demonstrating what does hackathon winning projects look like. And Mohammed, thank you very much for taking the time to explain it there. So for this final
Thank
part
you,
of the
Jake. I appreciate it.
thank you, bro. So for this final part of the presentation, we're going to be answering the question, how can I build on Hedera? And there might be some of you who, for the first time, you've never seen Hedera. So I'm going to give a really quick overview as to this Hedera tech stack. At the bottom of it, we've got the Hedera consensus layer. So this is the algorithm which was created by Lehman Baird, the co-founder of Hedera. It was the algorithm which he created, which is able to achieve all of the amazing statistics that you saw in the first few slides: the speed, the sustainability, the ABFT security, and also the low cost. That's at the base of this whole Hedera technology stack. And then above that, we've got three main services. So we've got the Hedera consensus service, we've got the Hedera token service, and we have the Hedera smart contract service, which is EVM compatible, EVM, Ethereum virtual machine. If you are an existing Web3 developer, then you can take your existing smart contracts, which are deployed in Solidity, onto EVM chains like Ethereum and layer 2s built on top of Ethereum, maybe sort of Arbitrum or OP stacks. You can use those same smart contracts and deploy it over on Hedera without needing to learn anything new. On the other side, if you are maybe this is your first time experimenting with Hedera, you can use the consensus service and the token service. And what I would really recommend for anyone, even if you're an experienced Hedera developer, is to check out the Hedera Developer Playground. So I'm going to put a QR code up. Oh, what the? No, it's not showing up. Okay, that's strange. You can. It doesn't seem to be showing. That's really strange. You can go to that link, hedera.com/playground. I'm also going to be giving a quick demo of it after this. But what this website is it's a web-based IDE. You can think of it as VS Code inside of the browser, or Remix IDE for the Hedera token service and native SDKs. And with it, you can really quickly prototype and learn about the Hedera services, like the consensus service and the token service. And what's really powerful about these native Hedera services is that you can use it in any language that you want, or pretty much. So we've got JavaScript SDKs, Java SDKs, and many more. I'll give a bit more information about the SDKs and where you can find out more information. But as well as this Hedera Developer Playground, we also have a Hedera Contract Builder, which if you are an Ethereum dev or you're an EVM dev, or you want to start getting into that section of Web3, you can also use this Hedera Contract Builder. Again, it's a web-based IDE to really quickly deploy smart contracts onto the Hedera network, verify them, interact with them in a super straightforward way. We're going to be going into some details of that now. So let me change my screen, and I'm going to go to, let's first go to this. It's weird. You can see the QR code over here, but not, it's underneath it. Whatever. Send back. No, strange. Okay, let's go over to this link over here. You can just find these online. If you type in Hedera Playground, or if you type in Hedera Contract Builder, you'll be able to find both of these. Could I just get a quick thumbs up? Is everyone able to see my screen right now? And is it showing the Hedera Playground user interface? I'm not going to be able to see anyone. If someone could maybe just say yes, who's in the backstage, that would be really appreciated. Okay, I think people can see it. I just had a quick look. Okay then. So yeah, what have we got here? This here is the Hedera Playground, and like I mentioned earlier, web-based IDE, you can really quickly prototype and interact with the Hedera consensus service. So you can do things like create a topic. We can then submit a message to that topic. I need to add a bit of code over here to do that. Let's go execute client. We can do all of this stuff, and once you sort of string together your services which you want to use, you can try it out in JavaScript or in Java. Once you import the relevant classes, you do your topic create transaction, execute that to the network. Obviously, you'll be able to see more information in the documentation. You can just click execute, and we'll see the output comes up on here. We can see that we've created a topic. Here's the URL. This is the Hashscan URL. So this is the block explorer for Hedera. And we can see that we've created a topic. It costed just about 1 cent. And if we go over to that topic, we'll also be able to see the message which we submitted. So that message over here, this is the consensus service is almost like a pub sub, decentralized pub sub bus. And you submit messages to a topic, and those messages are then all timestamps. That message can be any data you want. And this message costs 100%. So it's really cheap. We can also do things like create tokens. So I'll clear the panel. We can create tokens. We can transfer tokens. And obviously, you might want to sort of swap in the certain parameters. So we're here, if we're doing a token transfer, we might update that receiver account. So let's just do an example. Let's do an example. We'll do a HBAR transfer. So I'll remove this. We'll do an HBAR transfer and we'll create a token, and I'll show you how straightforward it is to do. Transfer HBAR. So here, for example, I'm creating a token. I set the token name, your token name. I set the symbol. There's lots of other information you can add. Again, you can go over to that documentation to see. And then we're also transferring HBAR. So here I'm just going to transfer it to an existing address. Click execute. And completely in JavaScript, we're going to be able to interact with the blockchain. We can see that we've created a token, your token name, F, exactly how we set it in the JavaScript SDK. And then we can also see this transfer HBAR transaction where my account has sent 1 HBAR to 0.800. I'll quickly go over to the contract builder as well. So the contract builder, this is similar to the Hedera Playground, except using Solidity. So for those of you who don't know, obviously, if you're an EVM developer, you're a Web3 native developer, you will know exactly what Solidity is. If you don't know what Solidity is a programming language which allows you to deploy smart contracts and interact with smart contracts on the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine. I mentioned this earlier. Hedera is EVM compatible, so you can use Solidity smart contracts and you can deploy EVM sort of binary code onto the Hedera network, and you can use existing protocols on Hedera. It's very straightforward. We come with some out-of-the-box typical smart contracts. So we've got the ERC20, which is the equivalent to a Hedera token on the EVM. We've got ERC721. This is an NFT, a non-fungible token. ERC1155. Going to need a reminder on what this one is, so we can maybe get back to that later on, as well as the Hedera token service. So this is quite an advanced approach. The Hedera token service allows you to interact with the EVM and Solidity and interact with, do a hybrid approach where we take the EVM and we take the native service and we allow them to interact with each other. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one. But what I will say is if you use this in the hackathon, it's a big plus, it's a big positive, because it really demonstrates you've gone to a deep level of understanding when using the Hedera services. So if you are doing a hackathon and you want to go the extra mile, definitely look into the Hedera token service system contract and how you can interact with the native token service and the native services in Solidity. I'll give a really quick demo for how to use the contract builder. It's very easy. We can here, if we want to deploy an ERC20 token, we can just call this my token. So we'll just call it HFO, or we'll call it Hello Future. We'll make the symbol HFO and we can pre-min 1000. We'll make it mintable. All that you need to do is you just need to click compile. So what this is doing is it's taking the Solidity, putting it into the relevant application binary interface, and then we can actually deploy the smart contract. So we're going to pass in the initial owner. In my case, it's my address. So we'll paste it in here, and we'll also paste in the receipt, and we can click verify and hash scan. What's nice about this is when we deploy the smart contract, it also does the verification for it out of the box. So once this is deployed, we can go back to the Hedera block explorer called Hashscan, and we can actually see the smart contract which we've deployed, which is an ERC20 token, and that allows you to have an EVM-based fungible token which people can buy and sell and swap and put into decentralized exchanges, all of that sort of stuff. So there we have it. We've deployed it, we've verified it. We can now see that on the Hashscan block explorer. And as you can see, we've got our contract over here, the ERC20 token contract. We can see the smart contract code because obviously we verified it, and we can also interact with it. You can interact with the API. We can see, for example, the balance of my account. So let's take the balance over there, paste it in here. And this should tell us that we have, the amount which we created the smart contract with. We can also see this in MetaMask. So if I go over to MetaMask, which is one of the popular Web3 wallets, we can see that if I take this EVM address, I can add the token on Hedera testnet. I can paste in the token address, and it should show up. Well, it should technically show up at this point. Hedera mainnet, let's go to Hedera testnet, import tokens, Hedera testnet, paste that contract address in, and there we go. HFO, I think maybe I did it for Hedera mainnet or something. That token symbol, 18 decimals, we click next and we can import it, and now we can use this ERC20 token inside of our MetaMask wallet. All right, so let's get back to the slide then. So as you saw, there's some very nice tools to use. We can quickly prototype and experiment with Hedera using the web-based IDEs, the developer playground, and the contract builder. And now it's showing up. If you want to do a quick screen grab or quick QR code scan, it'll take you there, or just type it in hedera.com/contract-builder. But once you get a bit more advanced and you're comfortable with going outside of the web-based IDE, you've done your prototyping, you've done your experimenting, obviously at that point you can then go into creating your application in GitHub, on your local machine, in your own IDE. And for this, Hedera is a very, very strong option because Hedera supports the most programming languages out of essentially every single layer one. So if we have a look at some of the languages which we support, Solidity, that's the EVM smart contract language. Viper is another smart contract language. We also have software developer kits for Go, Java, Python, C++, JavaScript, Rust, and Swift. So essentially any language you want to build in, you can start interacting with the Hedera network. You can start creating tokens, transferring tokens, creating topics, creating accounts, doing all of the stuff that we allow you to do straight, and you can build blockchain applications without it really feeling like you're doing any blockchain stuff. You can use native SDKs. It will feel like you're right at home if you haven't got into the world of Solidity and the EVM. What I'll do now is there's something else which I want to share. I'm not sure how. Let me show that first. So what I'll do now is I'll share a really quick way where you can actually, again, create a framework or create a scaffolding and using one of the templates that we have. So when it comes to building your application, you're most likely going to want to have a user interface, and you most likely want to have a wallet which a user can use to pair, and therefore the user is able to sign their own transactions without having to put their private keys anywhere. So what I would suggest for people who are developing their own dApps is to check out the Hedera-dev repo and find this template where you can actually clone it. We can take the template over here, and this is a React template, and we can call it whatever we want. Let's call it HOF template. And what this is doing is it will scaffold a React app in TypeScript, which has out of the box wallet connect integration. So it'll allow you to focus on your application logic, focus on deploying smart contracts or writing JavaScript, SDK code or Java, whatever language you want. You can focus on that and not have to worry about all of the nuances when it comes to pairing wallets and handling state when it comes to which wallet is connected. All of that is handled outside of the box, and I can give a quick demo of that once it's finished cloning. But just to emphasize, this is a nice template to start off with, where you will get all of the benefits of Wallet Connect and pairing wallets, and that important part of building applications. That's already done for you. You can then focus on your actual, what separates you, why are you using blockchain, what is your business's or your product's value add with blockchain. So as you can see, we've got it set up now. Let's go into the HOF template, and we can have a quick look at what the source code looks like. So again, it's just a very typical React app. We've got this app.tsx, which you can add it, but we've already created this wallet provider for you. And that wallet provider integrates with MetaMask and Wallet Connect. So it allows MetaMask and any Hedera compatible wallet to be used. You can click npm start. And with this, we will then be able to see the base template application. And we should also be able to pair our wallet, which we can then use for signing and interacting with transactions. So here, for example, I've already set this up, but we can disconnect. So if I go over to this, I can disconnect it over here, 4.5. Let's disconnect. Yep. And then we can click Connect Wallet. We select whether we want to do Wallet Connect. If we click on Wallet Connect, that will then allow us to pair with Hashpack or Kabila or Blade. Or on the other side, we can go connect with MetaMask, and that will pop up our MetaMask. So again, this is a really good foundation for builders. You can find this at Hedera-dev. This is the GitHub organization, and you can just search in templates. When you go into repositories, you can search in templates. We have various other templates. We've got templates for the Hedera Agent Kit, which is an AI tool, and Create React App templates. Would highly recommend you check these out, because it will definitely accelerate the product and the quality of it for you. All right, then. I know that was a bit of a detour. Let's now get back into my final slide. And for some reason, my mouse has disappeared. That's strange. There we go. So if we go back to the slideshow, this would be my final slide. And if you have any questions, now's the time to start typing them, because we've got a bit of time at the end to answer some questions. But the final slide, I want to showcase some of the Hedera studios. So again, there's a QR code, which is fortunately showing up this time. Scan that QR code. This will take you to our documentation, and it will take you to the section in our documentation which discusses the Hedera studios. So what are the Hedera studios? Well, the studios are open source kits, open source repos and tool sets that we have pre-built for you, which allows you to, similar to that template, focus on what really matters. So let's say you want to build an application which uses stablecoins, and you want to build your own stablecoin, and you want to have this whole other protocol which creates cool financial products, but you need that stablecoin first. You don't have to worry about creating a ready, robust stablecoin smart contract. You can just use the stablecoin studio and really quickly deploy your own smart contracts using the templates that we provide, and focus on building high quality applications which use the stablecoin rather than focusing on building the stablecoin. These smart contracts are being used in production by real use cases. It's not just some random smart contract that's been built. These have all been they've all been audited. They're being used by the likes of AP Plus, Australia Payments Plus, with the Australian bank. So you're using the same technology, the same open source technology that big players like those I just mentioned are using as well. Likewise with the Asset Tokenization Studio, real world asset tokenization is very popular at the moment. You don't need to worry about building the whole smart contract layer for Asset Tokenization Studio, for asset tokenization or your product which uses them. Use our Asset Tokenization Studio, make that section something that you don't worry about, and focus on how you use these assets. What services do you provide to end users which leverage tokenized assets? The AI Studio, similarly to the tokenization points, by using our AI agent kits, you will also be able to focus on the product which leverages that tech layer. You don't have to build that whole layer. And the same can be said with the Guardian as well. The Guardian, which allows you to create some of the most powerful sustainability applications, which tick all of the boxes that regulators need. You can use that as the foundation, and you don't have to worry about this infrastructure layer. You focus on the product layer, the applications which sit on top of it. So with that all being said, that's me done. And I hope you found that interesting. I know we covered a lot of information. If you have any questions regarding links or whatever, we're going to be sharing all of these resources in the Discord and many different socials. But thanks everyone for tuning in. And if you have any questions, you can ask me, you can ask it now, and we'll cover them all.
Great. Thank you so much, Jake. Thank you, Mohammed, for presenting. And yeah, we have wonderful question that we just received along this workshop. So first is, I think I'm gonna answer this myself. So we have a LinkedIn user says, "Hello everyone. I wrote my thesis on stock tokenization and would like to do more research in this direction. Can I get in touch with you?" So definitely you can get in touch with us. So as mentioned in this live stream on the description itself, we have the hackathon registration website. So once you click that, you will get into the website, you can register, and definitely you can join our Discord. And from there, we can communicate and you can ask us any questions for further clarifications that you may need. Yep. And then, okay, great. It's from Sai. Hello, you mentioned that Hedera enables decentralized application uh, without compromising speed, efficiency, or security. Can you share how your technology makes this possible and how you assure this?
Yeah, so that all boils down to the consensus algorithm which is being used. So this was a really impressive piece of technology, which, well, let me take a step back. So I was calling Hedera a blockchain throughout all of this. Technically, Hedera is not a blockchain. It uses a hash graph algorithm. So it's a DAC or something like that. A DAG, sorry, it's a DAG. And it uses this hash graph architecture, which rather than enforcing these transactions to be blocks, which are sequentially ordered and processed, you have this hashing algorithm which uses this protocol called gossip about gossip, where the verification of the transactions are done in parallel. Now, you can look at the source code. The source code is totally open source. The Hedera source code is governed by the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. And with the consensus algorithm, which is basically being run on these 31 servers at the moment, the servers which are being operated by the governing council, this is what allows all of those efficiencies and sort of applications which you spoke about, the speed, efficiency, security. So it all boils down to that consensus algorithm, which have a look at the source code if you're familiar with distributed ledger technologies. For me, it's a bit out of my head. I build on the dApp side, I build on the applications, but you can definitely have a look at the source code. You can get involved with the development of the source code with Hiero. That's hiero.org. This is an open source body which governs the Hedera algorithm, again, in tandem with the Linux Foundation. And you can find more information on our documentation as well. That's docs.hedera.com, or just type in Hedera documentation online. You'll be able to see some more information there.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Jake. And next question we have is from Sebastian. He mentioned that how is AI incorporated in Hedera Tech? How can it help participants or developers?
Really great question. So there's a few ways and sort of few angles where Hedera incorporates AI. Now, on the core technology layer, the consensus algorithm, there is no AI. The actual technology is a distributed ledger technology. It's a way of achieving consensus and handling transactions across multiple different computers in an efficient way. So there's no AI, there's no sort of GPUs which are training models on that technology layer. Where we're seeing AI being used for products is on that application layer. So I mentioned Equity Labs. they are using the properties of the Hedera consensus service, that immutability and transparency, when it comes to training and using or inferring, running inference on AI models. So they're combining a separate AI product, which might be an open source model running on some NVIDIA GPUs, and they're combining that, they're coupling it with the Hedera tech stack, which proves the authenticity and the integrity of that data. We've also got lots of AI agent tooling. So AI agents are really interesting because as we get into a world where AI agents are being used more and more, they need a way to transact with each other. And blockchain is a great solution for that because it allows a very easy way for a non-human to have a wallet, have an account, have a private key, and transfer value. Whereas the traditional rails, for example, central banks and banking applications, open banking, it's not quite suited for AI at the moment. I'm sure we'll see progressions in there, but blockchain is a really native way of building AI agents that can transfer value. And the final thing which I want to say is, as a developer, how can you use AI to build on Hedera? Because obviously you might not be doing our AI track, but you might still want to use AI to actually speed up your development. We've got a custom GPT which you can find. It's called Hedera Hive Mind. You can search that on the Chat GPT store. That LLM is a model which has all of the documentation sort of as part of the AI bot. So whenever you ask it questions, it's able to use the retrieval augmented generation architecture to search it and return up-to-date information. Or you can use just LLMs as they are, because Hedera's been around for quite a long time. We've been around since 2019. The information that LLMs give are sometimes correct, sometimes not correct. So obviously check the documentation. But we can give more information on this, I think, in a future workshop, in terms of how can you actually build on Hedera using AI, because it's a very, very important thing for developers at the moment.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for addressing that wonderfully, Jake. Okay, so we have here, her name is Belem Izo. I come from Burkina Faso. What consensus Hedera used?
So the consensus algorithm which Hedera uses is the hashgraph consensus algorithm. So that's the algorithm which I've mentioned. It was a novel piece of technology which was created by the founder Lehman Baird, and it's completely open source. So if you do really like to get into the nitty gritty of distributed technologies, you can have a look at the source code directly. It's written in Java. And that consensus algorithm is all public. You can technically run your own Hedera node, or your own node which uses the Hedera software yourself. But also, I want to emphasize, because we're an open source project, I mean, we're part of the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. Not only can you see the code, you can actively contribute. If you think that if you back your technology skills, then get involved in building and pioneering this infrastructure layer.
Great, great. Thank you so much for that, Jake. Okay, one more question here is from Brad. Hedera and Chainlink are not competitors; they are collaborators. How so?
So Chainlink is not a blockchain. Chainlink is a protocol layer on top of blockchains. Hedera is, on the other hand, it is a layer on blockchain. So where Chainlink sits is they provide products that can be used on Hedera. For example, oracles. Oracles allow up-to-date data be accessible inside of the Ethereum virtual machine, or the EVM. Now, so yeah, there's no aspects of competition because Chainlink is not a blockchain. Chainlink provides products which you can use on Hedera and other chains as well. They've got bridges like CCIP, the cross-chain interoperability protocol, which allows a interoperable interoperable way of using blockchains, where you can actually send tokens from one chain to another.
Okay, thanks for that, Jake. And I have a very simple question here. ERC 1155 is for NFTs.
Yeah, so I did just look it up. It's actually a multi-token standard, so it's like a hybrid approach of NFTs and also ERC20s. It allows a smart contract to do the both.
Okay, all right. Next is if you could share more insights on Hedera and its ecosystem applications for Islamic finance industry.
So this is a really, I love this question because I myself am a Muslim. So it's something which I'm also very interested in. And within the context of Islamic finance, blockchain is a very, very suitable technology because, um, well, Islamic finance, obviously, you can't have riba, which is a translation for, it's roughly translates into usury or interest. And as a result of that, when it comes to financing using an Islamic paradigm, you need to use different techniques. So it's often based on co-ownership models, where you sort of have like you pool investor money in and you share equity or you share profit. And smart contracts are really great for that because without needing to create any custom difficult off-chain logic, you can create a smart contract which automatically knows which particular investor or stakeholder owns how much equity or owns how much of a share into the profit rights. And then whenever there's a transaction paid in to the smart contract, it can distribute it immediately. Or you can have this programmable angle where you have a layer of rules that need to be set. So that's one aspect, is the fact that co-ownership and sort of sharing profit and sharing in revenue streams is highly suitable for the blockchain model. But also transparency. Transparency is very important in Islamic finance. You need to, for example, if you want to sell something, you can't sell something that you don't own. You have to have ownership of a particular asset before you go into an agreement to sell that to someone else. Now, this can be proved on the blockchain because of transparency. So there's a few different angles where it's really applicable, and I'd love to see some submissions which are targeting that particular industry and using smart contracts and blockchain for that.
Right. Yes. Such a wonderful answer and such a wonderful question as well. Well, next is I want to be a developer on Hedera, but actually I don't know how to start.
Good question as well. So the best way to start, I mean, I would say the best way to start in the context of this hackathon is to join the Discord. And in the Discord, you'll be able to see that there's the Hello Future Origins hackathon. You can join that, and you'll have access to people like myself. We can answer your questions. We can guide you. So this is a really good opportunity to do it because we've got people monitoring the hackathon 24/7. Now, outside of the hackathon, how can you get started? I would say just go to the documentation. Hedera Docs, you'll be able to see tutorials from there, and also the Hedera Playground. So I shared my screen earlier to sort of showcase this. If you just type in online Hedera Playground or Hedera Smart Contract Builder, you can have a web-based platform. You don't need to set up any NPM packages or set up the dependencies for your programming language of choice. You can go straight to the web and start interacting with Hedera, creating tokens, transferring tokens, doing all of that stuff in your web browser before then moving over to the actual to the actual sort of local machine for coding. So those would be those would be the places where I start. If you're going to be participating in the hackathon, join our Discord. I think you can find it at hedera.com/discord. And then also go to the documentation, go to the playgrounds, the smart contract builder, and do some stuff online. You don't even need to download anything to get started.
Okay, great. Okay, we have two last questions here. This is one of the two. Hello, thanks for the informative session. Could you please share a brief overview of a few noteworthy mentions of winning projects built on Hedera?
I think for this, it's probably best. Maybe we can give them a bit more time and the products, because I'm worried that I'll miss people out, and I won't give them their fair dues. But I think it's a really great idea. How about we create some content which we post out in the next week or so on some of the top projects in the past, what they did well, and we can have that as a reference point for builders on what to model off. But I will say, I'll give a quick shout out to Mohammed regarding the what was it called? It's called what was that? Trust AI or
Talent AI.
Talent AI? Talent AI. That's a really good project which demonstrates what is success looking like. So we'll come up with something a bit more robust, something which is more a high quality reference point on what previous hackathons did well.
All right, sure. Okay, next is can you explain more about ED25519?
Yes. So ED25519, this is it's basically a type of public-private key, which can be used for signing transactions. So it follows, I believe it's a type of elliptic curve algorithm. It's one of the key types that you can use on Hedera. You could also use ECDSA. So that there's two types of keys on Hedera. You can use either of them. I would suggest using the ECDSA key type because the ECDSA key type is what's used on the EVM. And if you use the ECDSA key, it allows you to have more functionality when interacting with the Ethereum virtual machine and smart contracts. So we've got two types of keys, ECDSA, ED25519. Both of them can be used. I would recommend you use the ECDSA. This will be the key which gives you the most access to everything that Hedera has to offer. And just I think a good note to add here is we obviously both of these keys are not quantum resistant. They're not quantum proof. So if we go into a post-quantum world, you shouldn't be using either of these keys. We're still a few years away from that. But I'm just going to mention that actually the quantum resistant keys, there's one which is kind of becoming the status quo at the moment, Falcon, that will be added to Hedera, as well as any other quantum keys which are required and are deemed suitable. That will be added to Hedera when we feel like it's going to be necessary to have a quantum resistant key.
Okay, yeah. We have one more question here. I think this is very interesting. Are there particular things you're looking for in a winning project?
Yeah, this is a really excellent question. So what I'd say here is you can find our marking criteria online, and there's 6 or 7 main marking points. Things like how your execution, what level of Hedera technologies have you used and how well have you actually executed on it? It's great to have a theoretically amazing idea, but for us, we want to see what you've done specifically on Hedera. And the reason why I say specifically on Hedera is because you might build the most amazing AI application which has multiple LLM support, and you've got this really nice user interface, and you're doing all of these cool features. However, if your Hedera thing is just okay, and we didn't get round to it, but we would add the token service. That's basically going to be kicked out the door. So focus on the Hedera stuff, execute that well. That goes a long well. That goes a long way, and especially if you show advanced usage of the technology stack. We're also looking for stuff which basically we can take to the Hedera Foundation, and we think people are actually going to use this. This is another really big thing that we're pushing for these hackathons. It's not just okay, I've built a cool project, but is this product actually going to? Could this be shipped and be used by 1,000, 100,000, a million people? That's something which we're also looking at. But I think what will help here, head over to the Hello Future Hackathon.dev page. We have the marking criteria on there. I think also in this post which we create where we show some of we put a spotlight on previous products. You'll also be able to see, okay, what have these guys done well, and also join the AMAs which we have. So we've got 3 AMAs upcoming in the next few weeks. All of this information will be communicated on Discord and through our channels. You can join all of those, and you can ask questions one-on-one to the mentors and help them help get feedback for your product as well.
Right, yes. So we have two more questions, but I think I can cover this since I'm quite mindful of the time of everyone as well. So I will be covering this with my remarks. But before that, Jake, do you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I guess I will just say, please join the Discord because this is the central place for everyone to be talking. You can find team members, but I think most importantly, you can speak to people on the Hedera side who know exactly what technologies to be using. So please join the Discord. Everything will be communicated there. Obviously, follow us on LinkedIn and X and YouTube, wherever you're watching this. Follow us there, but please go into the Discord because that's going to be the central place to find team members and speak to experts who can help you out.
Great. Yes, yes. Please follow the Discord of Hedera. And yeah, note that in this stream on YouTube, it has a hackathon website. So if you want to register and know more details, you can just click on that website. And of course, you can definitely join our Discord community. So after your registration, there will be a welcome email to you, and the Discord URL will be there so you can join our Discord. It's very important. So you will be able to see the program outline in the participants guide on the website itself. Very helpful. And please note that our opening ceremony, as we always flash on the screen right now, is scheduled on July 21st at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So this will be a very short but important session where we'll walk you through the key details about the hackathon. Very, very important, okay? So including the submission requirements, regulations, rules, and of course, quick review of the hackathon tracks that you might want to participate in. So we highly encourage you to attend so you don't miss any important information. And once again, on the Hedera Hello Future Origins website, you can also subscribe to the calendar. So in that calendar, it will automatically adjust the event time based on your local time zone for convenience upon subscription. And I guess that's it from me, and that's it from everyone as well. I just wanted to thank everyone, including the speakers, in joining this workshop. And I hope to see you once again on July 21st, 10 a.m. again, Eastern Time. Bye bye, and have a good day, or good afternoon, or good evening, everyone.
The need for a more interconnected world is fueling new decentralized technologies and new ways of doing business. Hedera stands at the forefront of distributed ledgers, where every interaction is not only trusted, but fast, efficient, and secure. While traditional blockchains struggle with speed and fees, Hedera's network settles transactions in under 3 seconds for a fraction of a penny. And the proof is in the numbers. Hedera is uniquely governed by a council of the world's leading institutions, ensuring transparency, trust, and decentralization. It's no wonder Hedera is the leading choice for enterprise and DeFi use cases. Everything from real-world asset tokenization to AI data integrity. Discover the only decentralized network with the governance, scalability, and security to power the new digital economy. What future will you build?